53 days to election 2020. I'm Arba Kumsin with your election brief today. And coming up, politicians across the divide, including Lindy members of the MPP and NDC flag bearer, throng Mankesim to commemorate 1 week since the death of Infantsiman MP Eko Kwanza Hayford.
And may these perpetrators also know no peace. Just as they've dealt with our brother, may the good Lord also deal with them through the same medium.
It is painful. All of us will die one day. That is what I say. How we are going to die is the issue.
Also, coalition of We Need Our Money Now or Vote Out Nana Out embark on a demonstration in the Bono East region demanding their locked up funds as a result of the banking sector collapse. And we continue our series on the future of Ghana's minority parties as the MPP-NDC duopoly remains firm. We have details as the Independent People's Party, rebranded as the Liberal Party of Ghana, hopes to wrestle power from the hands of the NDC and MPP in the December polls.
We are here to promote liberalism. We are the only party in Ghana at the moment promoting liberalism, and we are inviting you to be part of that.
All these and more coming up in the next 60 minutes. We are live on your DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144 on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Follow Joy News on TV. We stream on myjoyonline.com. On YouTube, we are Joy News TV. Stay tuned. Thanks, as always, for your time. Now, politicians from across the divide, including NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, have thronged the central region town of Mankesim for the 1 week observation of the death of the Infantsiman MP, Eko Kwanza Hayford. The MPP MP was shot dead by assailants at the Abiaze Domenase Mankesim Road on his return from a campaign trip at 1 a.m. Friday morning by suspected armed highway robbers. Now, the Inspector General of Police, James Opong-Bueno, has placed a 20,000 cedi bounty on the killers of the late MP. Vice President Dr. Baumia is expected to attend the ceremony, but a while ago, Gender and Social Protection Minister Cynthia Morrison, as well as National Youth Organizer of the MPP, Samuel Ku, spoke to Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojonyako.
It's the 1 week observance of the passing of Kwanza Hayford, the MP from Infantsiman. The 1 week observance is being held at the Mankesim Park. Hundreds of people have gathered here to mourn with the departed MP. There are so many of the government functionaries here. The Vice President has led government delegations to observe with them and to mourn with them. Here are party people that have also gathered, National Party executives, regional party executives, and we are told that the former President, John Dramani Mahama, will also be here to mourn with the family of the late MP. I've got some of the people here to speak with.
He represents all these people that you see here. And when you go to town, even those who are not in mourning clothes will tell you how he affected them one way or the other. So for somebody representing a constituency to be taken away like that is a blow. Every human being's life matters. But because of this particular peculiar situation, that is why we classified as that. It is painful. All of us will die one day. That is what I say. How we are going to die is the issue. So whoever took Eko's life should know that he can also be called one day. So it is not necessary. Even if you don't like somebody, it is not about taking a life. Even with animals, we have a way. If you are not going to use a goat or a cow for food, do you just shoot the cow or the goat and dispose of the body? No.
It's unconscionable. It beats my imagination as a young man and as a young politician. I'm saying this because it can happen to anybody. in the line of duty, you are campaigning for your seat. This man was simply a very harmless man. You hardly hear him dabble in controversy. You are from this region. You are in this region. You've been covering for multimedia for years. I'm not sure he's one of the MPs that you will say always makes the news, either for the bad reason or for controversial reason. And I'm just shattered. We've lost someone who was one bright spot, someone that definitely was going places. And my deepest condolences. And we ask that the good Lord should help these investigators, the BNI, the CID, the National Security, the Ghana Police Service, to get to the bottom of this matter and then get the perpetrators. And may these perpetrators also know no peace. Just as they've dealt with our brother, may the good Lord also deal with them through the same medium. Coming here, you see the poster of the man going for MP 2020, and you see his obituary on the other side. It's the saddest thing that can happen to any politician, any family. Because every day you see the poster of your husband, of your father, of your kinsman. This is definitely a scar on the conscience for people. People motivated by hate. Because if you listen to the eyewitness account and there's anything to go by, once they said, oh, he's an MP, so oh, you politicians, people motivated by hate and all those inciting people to against politicians.
How can we rewrite this? Because it seems to be the narrative out there.
I'm not saying politicians are saints. I'm not saying we get everything right. But it's a cooperation. We are in this together. It cannot be that people set an agenda. That means there's more of cleansing. Someone got to do the job. That is why someone also chose to be a teacher. Someone chose to also be a health professional. Someone decided to risk his public life, his private life, his personal security, put the security of his family members on the line to also be a politician. Being in public service is also service to the people.
The Vice President is coming today for the 1 week. It shows how we have been affected painfully by this tragedy. But the party has risen to the occasion by immediately replacing him with a wife as a candidate, so that we could go into the elections without having lost a seat. We know that and believe that the wife would take the seat for us as Eko would have taken it.
I think that the wife has the capability to do that because she is still mourning. Will she gather the strength to undertake such a difficult campaign when, I mean, you know campaigns that are in Ghana?
It is, but we believe the lady is up to the task. We honestly believe that she will be up to the task. She's been in the background supporting the husband, going around with him, and she knows what campaigning involves. And she's got only 1.5 months to campaign. But I believe the party network would support her to win the seat.
It was a shock, not expected by any stretch of imagination. Eko was a very decent person, very measured and very respectful. And I think that he's the kind of model MP that those who are, the young ones who are aspiring to come into politics must be looking up to.
Now let's go over to our man on the ground, Richard Kojo-Nyarko, to tell us more on current happenings at the one-week observation. Richard, bring us up to speed on what's happening right now.
Well, so the ceremony has ended. The family of the late Kwanza Hayford, the family members have announced the date for the burial, and then the final funeral rites is being scheduled for the 28th of November. And so that is what the family has said. There have been a lot of people that have come here who graced the occasion, apart from the government delegation that came, led by the Vice President of the Republic. The MPP as a party also had a strong delegation led by the General Secretary, John Bwedu. In fact, John Bwedu spoke on behalf of government and then on behalf of the governing New Patriotic Party. They said that whether it was an armed robbery, the normal armed robbery we know, or whether there were some sinister motives behind the death of Kwanza Hayford, they would empower the police to get to the bottom of the matter. We are hearing that 2 persons have been picked up, and a short while ago, the Central Regional Police Secretariat issued a release, and they said that the docket of this very case has been transferred to the police headquarters in Accra. And so it tells you how swift the police have been on this matter. We were expecting the former president John Dramani Mahama to be here, but when the ceremony closed, he couldn't make it here. So that is what has been happening here. There were also chants of they needed the wife of Kwanza Hayford to take his place. In fact, these were unanimous, and they resonated at the ceremonial grounds here. And so that is what the people here, it seems, they are calling for, and they need the woman to stand in the stead of the husband.
Now, Kojo, this is somewhat controversial, but there are reports making the rounds that the late MP had a second wife, and she surfaced at this ceremony to commemorate 1 week since his passing. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Araba, I am yet to set my eyes on this second wife, but I'm told that it's common knowledge here at Mankesim that indeed the late Kwanza Hayford had 2 wives and had 2 children with each of them. The one, Tapa, that we are currently talking about is a nurse and has 2 children and married the late Kwanza Hayford under our customary laws. And so her marriage is known to the family here at Mankesim. And we also know of Ophelia Hayford, who has been mentioned by the NPP to be the successor of the husband, to stand in the stead of the party, to be the candidate of the New Patriotic Party in the Mfantsiman constituency.
So that's our Central Regional Correspondent, Richard Kojo-Nyarko there. And as he said, the police have picked up 2 people. That case has been forwarded to the headquarters here in Accra for further prosecution. Now, a group calling itself the Coalition of We Need Our Money Now or Vote Out Nana are threatening, the group is threatening to vote out the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, and for failing to fulfill the New Patriotic Party's promise to pay them locked up funds prior to the 2016 elections. The group, made up of customers of Care for Humanity, Justa, God is Love, Little Drops, Creative and Adum, earlier today demonstrated on the principal streets of Techiman to express their displeasure.
Hey.
Anas Sabit, follow them. It's on Zoom now with an update of that demonstration. Anas, so give us a background to this. The group is saying that they were promised the payment of their locked up funds as far back as 2016. Give us a background of this.
Yeah, but before the 2016 general elections, there were lots of microfinance companies in the then Bono Ahafo region. Key amongst them is the DKM, which was an issue around this area. The NPP then wrote at the back of that particular one, and then a campaign promising the people of ensuring that their locked up finances will be paid back then when the party gets to office. Now there are a lot of these microfinances apart from DKM, which has become a household something. There are a lot of them, including Care for Humanity, Justa Motors, we have God is Love, we have Creative, we have Adom, we have Little Jobs.
And give us an estimate of how many people are involved. I mean, those affected.
Well, as it stands, I won't be able to say that, but they have a larger number. This one, what we observed today, is a coalition of these groups made up of all these microfinance institutions I mentioned that came together to form a coalition, sending a signal to government that they did not break any law. It is the CEOs and the BOG that is to blame. And so once that action was taken to close those microfinance institutions, the customers should not be victims. Government should ensure that it pays them their locked up finances. They raised a lot of concerns. Among their concerns is that they said Ambrose Derry, who is the Interior Minister, ordered the police to release one of the CEOs who was arrested somewhere 2 years ago. And so they feel the NPP gurus are into this, and they are buying properties belonging to the defunct microfinance clubs or fan clubs. There's one radio station in Nkranza which the people say the defense minister, deputy defense minister, who is the MP for Nkranza North, Major Derek Odro, has bought that FM station, which belonged to one of the CEOs of the defunct bank. So they are saying either the government ensures that they pay their monies in full, or they are not going to vote for the president, or they will vote out the current administration for deceiving them prior to the 2016 general elections.
Quickly, Anas, did they present any petition after their demonstration? What happens next?
Yes, they did. They presented a petition to the RCC, and the Regional Coordinating Council, of course, promised them that their petition will be taken to the right channel, to the presidency. And they are hoping that going forward, their concerns will be adhered to before the election on December 7th.
All right, many thanks. Anas Sabit there with that update. Now, NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, as you know, is in the central region where his campaign has currently taken him. He was expected to join members of both the NDC and MPP to commiserate with the family of the late Infantsiman MP earlier today. But he's taken to the campaign trail to interact with fishermen and fisherfolk at the Elmina Beach. He told the teeming crowd that the NDC government will ensure the landing beach committees work effectively to avoid the problems that often arise with the distribution of pre-mixed fuel.
Premix, landing beach committees, the outboard motors, subsidized, apofo, any what in my one there onya. Now, if we are buying, I'm buying for buy. What will landing beach committees in premix bar. What in my party for? Not party for the one day alcohol. What is your one day? Now what on ama a yamapo a yamaron and a farifono. And yaba, the best to send them to channel. Now you the landing beach committees now you do. and then me buy market, satellite market. Now, Oyaro, and so the crowd toy, and so did the whole pacha. Yeah, but them landing market, the best in food from there and come. We tried the buy now, them bridge now, airport, castle home. Now, empty to Tokro. I'll pay there, or from IS, there be a on Fata Elmina.
Now let's turn our attention on NDC running mate Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who's called on the chief of Nyinahini, where she pleaded with him and his elders to support her with prayers. She starts a 6-day tour of the Ashanti region today in the Nyinahini community. This follows a 4-day tour by the NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia, which ended Wednesday. Chief of Nyinahini, Nana Amempene Boateng Chum III, advised her to make peace her priority as she communicates her party's vision and plans for the Ghanaian people. Prince Appiah joins us on the line from the Ashanti region with more on her tour. So Prince, how has she been received? How has the reception been for the NDC running mate?
I should say the reception has been okay for the NDC running mate. The first stop after the running mate got to the airport, a number of people roused and welcome met her at the airport, and she was driven through some of the principal streets of Kumasi and headed straight to Nyinahini, where she paid a courtesy call on the Nyinahini Ampambene Boateng, where she pleaded for some prayers as she begins her tour. So that is where she's been. From the Chief's Palace, she headed to the school park where there was a gathering of some opinion leaders and the youth of the community, where she shared her vision, the vision of the NDC party. One thing that she mentioned that was very interesting was how it's very important for the youth to come together to join the NDC to kick out the NPP government. And she believes that the Nyinahini area has continued to, the Achumamponia area has continued to vote for the NPP for quite a long time. But most of the developments that are seen here are what were done by the NDC during their tenure. So she pleaded with the people to come together and vote for the NDC come December 7th. And so now the team, the running mate and her team are currently headed to other parts of the Achumamponia district to continue the tour, Araba.
I know that on most of her tours of the various regions, she raises the issue about education and the double track system and how government is going to review the current educational system. What issues has she been raising on her tour as she starts her Ashanti region tour?
One, she mentioned education. Here at Nyinahini, for instance, the senior high school that was built here was built by the NDC. She referred to that. She also mentioned the need for the people here, aside education, to also both the NDC in power, and that they are going to construct some satellite markets, and that she mentioned that she knows the Ashanti region is noted for trade, and a lot of women here will need a proper market area to do their trade. She mentioned that as well. And she also mentioned roads, and that when they come to power, they are going to help construct better routes in the area as well. So these are some of the things she mentioned here at Nyinahini, Arba.
All right, many thanks. Prince Appiah on that beat with the NDC running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Let's stay on her a while longer because she says questions raised about her receiving salaries from the University of Cape Coast are misplaced. In a yet-to-be-aired interview, she suggested that she's been working with the university since leaving the education ministry. She also hinted that the decision to rejoin her faculty was taken reluctantly. She's been speaking to Daniel Daze.
And I didn't know many people were very, very knowledgeable about how universities are run, how post-retirement contracts are given. I didn't know that, but I'm glad. So I was telling the registrar, next time we advertise, there'll be many, many applicants. We won't be scratching our head anymore about who qualifies. So let me leave it here. So many of the stories will come. As we get closer, you hear many of them.
So you did not receive money from
All I'm saying is that the registrar, why shouldn't I? I'm not a citizen. I don't work at the university. No, what is that? Where is that coming from? What's that supposed to mean?
So were they part of your terms and conditions?
Go to the university and find out again. Go and get the number of PhDs and masters I've graduated since I left the ministry. Go and find out the role I play. So do your homework. So I don't know whoever triggered this and what it's supposed to serve. So the registrar put out a statement. And as I said, the university is a very public place. You can consult our statutes, you can consult our acts, you can consult, what I even heard that I said, something about the academic board. I said, look at this. What has this got to do with the academic board? So we can all be knowledgeable about anything we want if we study it.
But did you write to them to renew your contract?
I won't advance this discussion. Let the registrar put a statement out. If I write for my contract to be advanced, I have every right to do so. I have every right, like anybody else, to do so. What prevents me from doing that? So the students I have right now on my hands, I should drop them in the ocean. Is that what happens in his place of work? Wait for the registrar's statement and move on to another place.
I think the questions only came so that the clarity would come.
No, I don't. So the university is best placed to provide that clarity and not any other individual. As if it's a crime to write a letter to your own university, the university where you spent all your life. Do they even know the conditions under which I went back? Do they know what teeth were pulled, what strings were pulled? They don't know any of this. They can just shoot their mouth. And like the teacher allowance, expect me to be dancing around the subject.
So this interview airs in the maiden edition of On the Record with Daniel Daze on Monday, 19th June at 8 p.m. on the Joy Prime channel, Joy Prime TV, that is. You're still watching Election Brief with me, Araba Kumsin. Still on the National Democratic Congress, the party has revealed plans to establish a special institution to train traditional leaders on alternative dispute resolution. It's expected to augment the efforts of tradition to strengthen their roles in modern-day leadership laced with culture. The move by the opposition party is meant to help reduce the enormous pressure on the court systems in Ghana. General Secretary of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, mentioned this initiative when the party's campaign team visited the chief of Ijura in the Ashanti region as part of the second day of the campaign tour. Prince Apia has more.
The second day of the NDC's campaign tour of the Ashanti region continued in the Ejura-Sechedumase district and the Efija-Seche South district of the Ashanti region. It received huge reception, especially in the Ejura area, where thousands of NDC sympathizers and party supporters mobbed the leadership of the NDC that was there to engage the people. This is Ejura-Sechedumase district of the Ashanti region. This is the stop where the General Secretary of the NDC is engaging the chiefs and the people here.
House of Chiefs, Yenjana Yentremu, na Yananum, Amahim Afo no so, Womoso Entimin Kobi. They said the Yaba, IFF, Himafo, Nananum Wohono. The House of Chiefs near Kase, Nananum Tib, or him be a Huse, a Chiakakra. And Untina, Yaya Pese, Yabubon Kukua, Yedifrifie. Entina President Mahama, why in a body a chira, or ye Oba. The science is no so a better than anonym say more money a yard, you better sa and a mono.
Again, another policy that the NDC is advancing here is creating an institution to train traditional leaders in the areas of dispute resolution in the country. They believe this is going to help with reducing the number of cases that end up in the courts unresolved.
Akatu asem ne ne manema ebinim makatu atoda bi ana ye atemdidie ni kasantwie kwa na ye kasati anananom eno nti ye den hyehyɛ eba ye beti institution training traditional leaders eno nti sa konwa to obi ne de no etena konwa so a abaye ewo baabi a obekwa akoje ntete efri de ye de be ma no wo kokua mu akire no abai wo baabi obekwa akoje nchiche ntete kwanye a ye fa so di asem alternative dispute resolution no ne manema se de be ya ensem no bebre wo ho anananom betimi adi kura enko police station na to da bi ana ho ntete ni ho enti enonom nyina no ye te sa institution no a ebeye ebedi sa adwuma no.
In the Efija Central South District, the NDC leadership visited the Wiamuase Hene, where Nana Boachi Yadom advised the people against violence, regardless of the results that may come out.
Party and your time. Ye pregan a ye dear. Yeah. And Mistress, ye mountain in Mebruno. Ye. Yeah. Sir, young fan to quasem and copolitism. Also, see a yena say a rainy pankwa. Now, as I'm Naame de ye. Now, be deep ni person any pelling in our son, also in a woody. And Timomwa, near Fasum Beer and Famra. Yeah. When Yamesa Kunyani Yamodia, Monsankana Sum Jim.
From Ejase Chodumase District, my name is Prince Apia, reporting.
You're still watching the Election Brief with me, Arba Kumsin. We're taking a short break, but still to come, we continue our series on the future of Ghana's minority parties as the NPP-NDC duopoly remains firm. We have details as the Independent People's Party, rebranded as the Liberal Party of Ghana, hopes to wrestle power from the hands of the NPP and NDC in the December polls.
We are here to promote liberalism. We are the only party in Ghana at the moment promoting liberalism. And we are inviting you to be part of that.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, at 8 p.m. tonight, 5 presidential aspirants will take to one stage in a fierce exchange of ideas as your election headquarters, in partnership with Imani Ghana, brings you the minority parties debate. The venue is the UPSA Auditorium. The time is 8 p.m. It will be live on JoyNews, Joy 99.7 FM, Love 99.5 FM, and all our social media platforms. You can't miss this. Now, after 2 unsuccessful attempts to join the race in wresting power from the hands of the NPP and NDC, the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, is hoping to create an upset for the 2 major parties. Having been written off by many political enthusiasts, founder and leader of the party, Kofi Akpaloo, says 2020 is the year that Ghanaians will make history by rejecting the many failed promises from the other parties. Manuel Koranting has more in the following report.
Love the beat.
Formerly known as the Independent People's Party, the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, is the brainchild of accountant and businessman Kofi Akpaloo. Having lived and worked in Ireland for a while, Kofi decided to return home to contribute his expertise in building what he calls a better tomorrow for all Ghanaians. For him, it was time for Ghanaians to try something different from NPP and NDC. This different option was the LPG, which has a desktop computer at its logo.
My name is Kofi Akpaloo. I'm the leader of the Liberal Party. That's the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG for short. We are here to promote liberalism. We are the only party in Ghana at the moment promoting liberalism. And we are inviting you to be part of us. We give people opportunity to develop themselves. We are committed to human dignity, freedom, human rights.
But this call will not be practicable, at least in the 2012 elections where he failed to file his nominations, and in 2016 when he was disqualified for irregularities in his form.
Fourth candidate is Mr. Kofi Akpalu of the Independent People's Party. The Commission is unable to accept Mr. Akpalu's nomination because he did not meet the number of subscribers under the Nomination 7 to 94. The details are as follows. 3 subscribers supported the nomination of another candidate. That would be Dr. Ejani Boateng, in breach of Regulation 7.4 of CI 94. Again, the cross-subscribers have different signatures on the nomination forms of Mr. Akpalu as against the nomination forms of Dr. Ejani Boateng, raising questions as to the legitimacy of the signatures. They are, as stated earlier, Alfred Yevuglo, Dadadu Raymond, and Edu Thomas. Same voter identity numbers as earlier said. We will again refer this to the Ghana Police Service and the Attorney General for investigation and prosecution in line with the law.
After failing to land a spot on the ballot paper in 2016, the LPG's focus has been on getting parliamentary candidates in all 275 constituencies to strengthen its base for the next election. Ahead of the 2020 polls, the party has been loud on job creation.
Currently, we have over 54% Ghanaians unemployed, especially among them the youth. And we want to create opportunities for them. In view of this, we are going to set up a $10 billion job fund. And this job fund, we're going to encourage young people who have business ideas to tap into it, to raise capital from it, to start their own businesses.
Well, having successfully filed its nominations to contest in the 2020 elections, the LPG's promise of putting lives first through technology, as its logo signifies, may just be in reach. For Joy News, Manuel Cranting.
One of the participants at tonight's minority debate is flag bearer of the PNC, David Apasera. He's been speaking on the polls with Gifty Ando-Apia. He says his party will roll out a comprehensive strategy away from what he describes as conventional policing to deal with crime.
We have a program. We are going to put in place a paramilitary organization that will be solely for fighting off people who are on the highway. And we are going to have their bases all over the regions, and we are going to deploy helicopter gunships for them. That if people are stranded here, they give a call, the next moment you have the helicopter on top there with well-trained security personnel. That will,
you'd have helicopters flying all over the country?
Yes, certainly from every region you should have a base. And when you have a base there and you have your helicopter there, you can't run on the ground to save people.
If there are 5 armed robbery cases in one particular region,
but you cannot.
Deploy all.
Yeah, even if you have 5 armed robbery cases, and once the helicopter is in the air and the armed robbers on the ground know that the helicopter is in the air, they will leave the people and run for their dear lives. But if you say that police will use a siren, by the time they get there, the people have found their way out, and then the innocent people would have suffered. Apart from that, there must be a system, and I believe that what we are going to bring on board, armed robbery, highway armed robbery, will be a thing of the past.
What is your assessment? Was the first question of the NPP's administration's handling of security in this country?
Well, I think that, they have done well. They relied on the police, they relied on the whatever security agencies that we have, and I think that they have well resourced them to undertake that. And that is all that I'm saying. Unless you bring in a new thing, that old system that we have worked with, we are failing.
Mr. Apasera has also been explaining why the minority political parties cannot unite and emerge stronger to win political power. For him, greed is a major factor.
He begged to differ. I differ with his opinion. I differ because I think that maybe we ourselves are not sincere in our approach to things. I don't think that there's any major party that comes in to buy you and tell you, please, don't merge. But you see, we have various parties and people want to be in leadership positions. I think that we are not uniting because we don't want to. And we have some selfish kind of tendencies within us that's preventing us. If you tell me, dissolve your party and come, you don't want unity. If you tell me, look, let's put our cards on the table and then we bargain. If you take this, I take this. That is where we talk about unity.
So
but
selfishness.
If you say, yes, I think so.
Selfishness is what is preventing the minority political parties to come together. Either
selfishness or we are not too serious about what we want. If we want unity, then we must say that all cards are on the table.
I see.
For unity.
So do remember, make a date. The minorities political party debate is at the UPSA auditorium tonight, 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. It will be live on all our channels, on the Joy News channel, on Joy 99.7 FM radio, also on myjoyonline.com, as well as Love 99.5 FM and all our social media handles. So do make a date. Let's go back to the MPP, and Deputy Campaign Manager for the party, Mustafa Hamid, is accusing NDC flag bearer John Mahama of resorting to the spreading of fake news following what he says is the massive rejection of the former president during his campaign tours. At a news conference in Accra Wednesday, Dr. Hamid also linked leading members of the NDC to a number of online news portals he says consistently churn out fake news aimed at misinforming the electorate, hoodwink them to create a false sense of insecurity and also court disaffection for government. His comment comes at the back of allegations by MP for Tamale Central Inusa Fuseni that a government official was arrested in the UK for money laundering. There's more in the following report.
The news conference, according to the party's 2020 deputy campaign manager, is to expose what he calls the politics of lies and deceit by the NDC, as well as the agenda of the NDC in setting the stage to reject the result of the 2020 general elections, and finally, make Ghanaians aware of the hypocritical stance of the NDC on government security interventions, whilst assuring the electorate of government efforts to safeguard election security come December 7, 2020. Dr. Hamid observed that as the country inches closer to the general elections, the NDC is beginning to pick signals of their defeat. Hence, its decision to bastardize the Electoral Commission and also prepare the grounds for rejection of the yet-to-be-conducted December poll.
These signals are not just a result of their inferior track record in government, weak campaign machinery, and an unattractive flag bearer who suffers a serious credibility deficit. Evidently, the MPP's grassroots engagement has received massive public endorsement, while that of the NDC has lacked steam, resulting in instances of rejection by the people, leading to the suspension of campaign activities by its flag bearer and running mate. We of the MPP have also not been surprised about the bankruptcy of ideas and inefficiency that have characterized the NDC's campaign. On the back of an imminent defeat, the NDC has resorted to setting the stage to reject the outcome of the yet-to-be-conducted December.
The deputy campaign manager also said the creation of fake news online portal forms part of the NDC's grand agenda to dent the image of the governing NPP. He cited some news portal he says were created by leading members of the NDC to misinform the public.
A fake news portal, graphicgh.com, graphicgh.com, has been created to mimic graphic.com.gh, to churn out fake news that misinform the general public. And the purpose is to get the public to believe that such fake news is being published by the reputable Daily Graphic. Indeed, the NDC has registered and is using so many of such domain names to populate the internet space with a lot of fake news. They mimic established media houses like the Ghana News Agency and such other state news agencies. So they have, for example, GhanaNewsAvenue.com into brackets GNA. So when you see the GNA, then you are likely to believe that it is from the reputable Ghana News Agency and therefore likely to be true. But this is GNA as in GhanaNewsAvenue.com. They also have BBCNewsGhana.com. So you are tempted to believe that this is from the BBC. And of course, the already infamous GhanaPoliticsOnline.com.
Dr. Hamid, however, called on civil society organizations, the National Peace Council, leaders of religious organizations, and chiefs to condemn the NDC's diabolic plan to misinform Ghanaians and create fear and panic in the country.
Now, the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Cyril Fayose, says the growing sense of insecurity in the country could be partly blamed on unemployment and the failure of families to inculcate the right moral values into their children. Speaking to JoyNews at a forum to mark National Christian Men's Week, Reverend Fayose tasked the various political parties to offer real solutions to tackle what he describes as a time bomb.
Oh, definitely unemployment is a major problem. I mean, the insecurity that we are facing has some connection to youth unemployment. If, in fact, it's like we are sitting on a time bomb. If majority of our graduates do not have a job, so we are looking for a political party and leaders who can really solve that situation for us. There have been several messages. Some of them, I think, are more propaganda than practical. But that notwithstanding, collectively as a society, we must find solutions to our unemployment situation. In fact, recently when a professor was murdered, it was people from within his own home who committed a crime. And those people came from a home. What kind of training, what kind of morals were they taught coming up? So there is some connection to that, yeah. And if they exhibit in society, they may take up arms and do all kinds of things. So the insecurity may be partly related to that.
Meanwhile, he's urging all churches who offer their platforms to political parties to be fair and assure accountability.
Oh, I think there's nothing wrong with that. We have always given them our platforms. The politicians always come around election years to use our platforms to share their message to the people. Our people are voters, so they must be educated. And if that is a means to educate them, I think we should allow them that. But we should be fair. We should give equal opportunity to all the political parties. And then, but what is even more important is that after their messaging, after they've used our platform, we must hold them accountable. They come election years, make all kinds of promises, we vote for them, and that's the end of the story. We see them again the next 4 years. No, in the first year of their tenure, we must check whether they have done the things they said they were going to do. And if they have not, we should call them back to the church. Because the church is a large constituency in this country, and they have influence. You must call them back and say, you came here and you said you were going to do A, B, C, D. Why haven't you done it?
Well, the Christian Council has also joined the Joy Peace campaign ahead of the 2020 elections.
Yes. I think we should stay away from words of insults, politics of insults. And we should also respect one another. And partisan politics, democracy, elections, it's not a war, it's not a fight. It's about choosing our leaders for the next 4 years. So we must do everything in our power to exercise our franchise, our civic responsibilities in peace, respecting one another, and in civility. So that there will be peace before, during, and after 7th December. But I also encourage everyone to come out to vote. Because if you don't come out, someone will choose a leader for you. So it's important for you to come and vote.
And that's all for this edition of Election Brief. I'm Marva Kumson. Remember, you can catch us every weekday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Have a good afternoon.